It's a gorgeous day here in early May in the Apsan Park in the Mount Apsan area here of Daegu, South Korea. I'm standing here at the Nakdong War Memorial Museum. It's just on the southern edge of Daegu, and give you an outside view here first before we go inside. Take a quick look at the museum. Later I'm going to go up on a cable car, which I believe is behind this museum. But just try to set the scenes for you. Got the outdoor display area, some of the military equipment, tanks and so forth like that. There's a small aircraft over there in the outdoor part. And then the flags of the various United Nations countries that fought here during the Korean War. So this is a gorgeous day with wind blowing and so forth like that. Just a really nice day. And walked up here from the parking lot. You got to park down there, 2,000 won to park, and take a nice stroll amongst the trees and so forth like that, and just come right up here to the main gate and just walk in. Free admission. There's no attendant on duty or anything like that, sort of self-guided. And you have this strong figure pointing at you, of course, kind of reminiscent of Uncle Sam Wants You. I wonder if that might be the message this gentleman is trying to convey to us. I'll have to get somebody who's watching this video here to translate. Why don't I get up close in case somebody can read the Korean and then translate it and tell me what it's saying here. And I think there's a question in here. But let's go into the first floor part of the museum. And as represented here, they've got the opening, sort of like the tunnels. The infiltration tunnels have been built under the DMZ by North Korea. And then photographs of the actual interior of the tunnels here. This one was the 1974 tunnel. And here's the latest and largest that they found. I think this is the third one, 1975. And they found one since the third tunnel here. And this is 78. So I presume that maybe the second one there. So as you walk through the arch here, on your left and on your right are various exhibits, sort of a timeline of Korea and various things that have occurred in their country prior to the Korean War, the Japanese invasion and occupation for many years. Various weapons that were in the war, used in the Korean War. This is their classic, I guess, status of forces. The good guys in blue and the bad guys in red, relative to their size at the start of the war. And the various equipment, aircraft and ships and so forth there. And of course, how the invasion started in June 1950 with the North Koreans invading across the line. And then what this museum is all about is this defense right down here, commonly called the Apsan perimeter, because the main harbor port was the only way that the UN forces were getting in and out. And during those early months until the famous landing up in September 1950 in the port of Incheon area, and then there was sufficient combat power, and then the UN forces just broke out and encircled, and well, things went on from there. But it was a very historic stand because this is all that South Korea was down to as far as controlling it. The North Koreans had invaded and had all of it except this one little place right here. And then events turned around. June 25th, I think these are some of the photos of the actual invasion forces coming across. The tanks, you saw one out there, I think, coming into, this looks like a city here, crossing the various rivers. And what happened, I suspect 1950, it's a date timeline of what was transpiring, and then the reaction by the world community, UN in particular, and the United States, and the forces that came around the world in defense of South Korea, and various photos of who did what and where and when of the various nations. More weapons on display, various armaments and all. Some of these, I think, are after the Korean War. You know, the M16 was right here was made well after the war, but and the AK-47 I don't think was used, but these submachine guns were. So this is what you get inside the museum. Photos depicting what's going on and celebrating the accomplishments of the folks who defended Korea when there really wasn't much left. I think these are some scenes later during the war. I think this possibly is in this further south where the difficulties they had at the POW camp on an island off the coast there. I read about that recently, and it was pretty difficult and pretty tense situation. Some of the atrocities where the bodies were thrown, the people executed by the North Koreans and the Chinese and killed there. Bridges destroyed, the effect on the families. I think over here we're kind of in the modern era here in the 60s and 70s. I see pictures of the famous X incident there, as they call it, Panmunjom, where the North Koreans attacked the folks when they were trying to trim the tree down there, and 2 Americans were killed. Picture of the, I guess, the aircraft that was sabotaged. Various other equipment on display here. This is a photo you'll see a lot of when you visit South Korea, especially around the DMZ area, this abandoned locomotive and all. I think it's kind of representative of the situation. It got left there in 1950 and it's been there ever since. And then bring you up to the more modern era here and showing you various things and books. And I think this is a little display of watch out for saboteurs and spies and guerrillas and folks there. And then scenes about the reunification efforts between South and North Korea that have been ongoing for a number of years. Get the countries unified again. I think you need to be able to read Korean, and you get a lot more out of this as far as what's on display here in the information. So come on by, it's free admission, and you can check things out. And thank you for watching.